So it's the last day of the month, the end of dry January. And nowadays, quite a few people do stop drinking in January, don't they? And tomorrow, many of those people will bring that run of sobriety to a close and go back to drinking in the way that they always planned to do. Today, I want to talk about that and how you're feeling right now. Because the chances are that if you get my emails or you follow my blog or you follow me on social media, then I'm guessing you didn't just do dry January on a whim. It wasn't a kind of, why not decision. I'm guessing that you might have been worrying about your drinking for a while and trying to stop on and off for some time now. So if you're in that kind of unhappy relationship with alcohol that you've been thinking about ending for a long time, then I know that actually the end of dry January can be quite triggering, because when you see other people loudly going back to drinking and celebrating it, all being over, it can leave you unsure about what to do, and you might feel conflicted about your next step. And I think there are 5 thoughts that you really want to watch out for at this point. And my goal with this video is just to highlight them here so you can be aware of them. And the first one is this: if I've managed to take a whole month off, I can't really have a problem with alcohol, right? This belief comes from the idea that there are just 2 types of drinkers: normal drinkers and raging alcoholics. And quitting for a month proves that you're not in the latter camp, so that therefore means everything is fine. Yes? Well, here's the thing. At the height of my drinking career, shall we call it that, I also stopped for a month several times. And when I work with women who come and join my Getting Unstuck course because they want some help to quit in a way that feels good, well, after talking to them, I often discover that they've done dry January many times before. Because the fact is, most of us can do something that we don't want to do for a month when we really put our minds to it, particularly when we are trying to prove a point to ourselves. So if you are going to go back to drinking now, don't fall for that trap of thinking everything must be fine. What I want you to do instead is set a reminder on your phone for the 28th of February. And that reminder just needs to say, how am I feeling about my drinking right now? Because it's these coming weeks ahead that are going to be the most important. You could also, repeat that reminder for the end of March as well. Stay engaged with this and keep reflecting on how you really feel about your relationship with alcohol. The second thought that might be coming up is, perhaps a month off has reset my drinking. I'll be able to just drink moderately now if I go back to it. That's not really the case, so let me explain. If you go back to drinking after a month of drinking nothing, your tolerance to the drug, to alcohol, is going to be so much lower. So you won't need as much to feel the effects. And this can initially make it seem as if you're controlling your intake better, but you aren't really, it's just that your tolerance is lower. Soon you will want to drink again, and that time you'll need a bit more in order to feel the same effects, so it will be harder to stop at 1. And then the time after that, you'll need even more, and very quickly you can see how you get back to where you were before. The slide back into your old drinking patterns might happen slowly or it might happen quickly. It's different for different people, but it will happen. I mean, just consider this. If you took a month off from smoking, you wouldn't expect that to reset your relationship with it. You wouldn't expect to then be more in control of smoking or having a healthy relationship with it. That's not how it works when we're dealing with an addictive drug. The third thought to watch out for is, I just miss the taste. If you've been fantasizing about pouring a glass of your favorite wine tomorrow, or you're going to drink again just so you can enjoy the taste of your favorite drink, whatever it is, here's my tip for you. Take your time over it. Ask yourself, how does this taste? Is this as good as I remembered it to be? Because most of us had to work quite hard to acquire our taste for alcohol, which means most of us also lose our taste for it over time. And after a whole month off, what a lot of people find is that their favourite wine doesn't taste quite right. It might seem a bit vinegary or really strong, or it has a strange smell that you don't even remember it having before. If you are disappointed by the taste, but you force it down anyway, take a note of that. Because doing that suggests that you aren't really drinking for the taste. Perhaps there's a part of you that would like to say that's why you drink, but if you're wincing at the taste and forcing it down, then something else is going on, and that's really important to know. The fourth thought that might have crossed your mind is, well, at least I can get my life back and have some fun again. I definitely used to think this. For me, when I was like taking a month off occasionally, I used to have to stay at home and not go out, so I wasn't tempted. But that meant that sobriety was always associated with not having fun and, being good, whilst drinking was like everything opposite to that. The huge problem with that strategy is you create this dynamic where you have to basically put your life on hold in order to be sober, and that is not sustainable or fun or necessary. Successful alcohol-free living is about learning how to live your life and feel good without needing to drink, without needing to outsource all your good times to alcohol. That's the approach to sobriety that I teach people on my course. What you might want to do right now, if you're going to continue your break, is to use February as the month where you experiment a bit more, where you collect some data and some experiences and try some new things. Don't make the mistake of going out just once and then creating a whole story about that. We give alcohol a lot of chances over the years, so I reckon sobriety deserves the same opportunity. The fifth and final thought to watch out for is, I am such a failure. I mention this in case you have tried to do dry January, but it didn't work out. I know how tough it can be when you fail at sobriety during the one time of year when lots of other people seem to be giving it a go as well. I know exactly how that feels because this happened to me in January 2013. I'd had months off here and there before, but for some reason that time I couldn't make it stick and I felt terrible about it. But what you also need to know is that a few months later, I tried again, and that was actually when I stopped for good. I will be 9 years sober this April. So you can be a dry January dropout and turn it around. If you have struggled this month, the best thing you can do now is explore why. And most people don't bother with that. They'll spend a few days beating themselves up, and then they'll go straight into trying to wipe the slate clean and just pretending it never happened. And they skip over the important work of looking at why they drank, what they can learn from that, and what they might need to get some help with. So make sure you do that. All right. I hope that by shining a light on these 5 thoughts, it gives you something to think about so you can move forward with intention. And now I'd love to know in the comments what your plan is for February. What are you going to do next? And if you are sticking with sobriety and setting another goal, scroll down and make that declaration in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts and know what your next goal is. And I'll see you next week.